mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Okay, my friends, we are live. It is Columbus Day, the 10th day of October, 2011. On this live Monday edition, we're going to be here for the next 3 hours live. Then, of course, back tonight, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, for InfoWars Nightly News. And we're working on getting a whole bunch of different guests on the Nightly News tonight, but that'll be a surprise. And we've got some really big guests coming up throughout the week. Also, one of my favorite and also extremely famous musicians is saying he's probably going to come visit me next week or the week after and stay at my house here in Austin. And that musician, if that does happen, will be in studio with us. So I'm extremely excited about that coming up next week. Certainly a lot of people out there are awake and waking up even further and waking up others around them. It is extremely exciting. And it was so wonderful. I didn't talk enough about this yesterday because I'm just so poleaxed by it. So lightning struck by it, that it's just so good to see the liberty and the burning spirit of freedom in the eyes of anti-Federal Reserve demonstrators calling for an end of the private banking dictatorship over the United States and the world at the big successful event in Dallas, Houston, and then in the pouring rain in San Antonio yesterday. Just incredible. It was so good seeing all of you out there. And I'd like to open the phones up for people that are protesting the Federal Reserve and calling for a return to the Glass-Steagall Act and for the Federal Reserve to be audited and then abolished. I'd like to talk to people who have been at Occupy Wall Street events, specifically if you've been at In the Fed events or Occupy Wall Street events. And clearly now the Democrats have tried to co-opt the entire Occupy Wall Street movement. That was my point a few weeks ago, is I don't want to see it turned in to just more class warfare and a call for collectivism that we've been seeing. And now that's definitely how the liberal and conservative mainstream media have framed it. But is that really what's happening on the streets? We see a lot of people that are part of the Occupy Wall Street movement that are awake right now. But we also see the unions and others coming in and clearly, at least as far as media coverage, taking it over. And I did see some Occupy Dallas people that were upset with us, somehow thought that, the occupying the Fed was the wrong thing, but others from their group came over and understood what we were doing. I know that there was some Occupy Houston people that were big supporters of ending the Fed, but also a few at first that thought that, that we weren't on their side till I explained we were. And then in Occupy the Fed in San Antonio, Matt Medina has been hanging out with them for several weeks. And it was grassroots. And a week ago, he was telling us they were great until MoveOn.org came in and did take it over. And they said, no Ron Paul, no Alex Jones. In fact, we have an interview from In the Fed yesterday in San Antonio, powerful, with Matt Medina, that if I can get it culled out of all the hours of video we have that we'll be airing tonight. The guy that knows where everything is Rob Dew, but I told him go ahead and take the day off because he hadn't seen his children in 3 days. So Rob Dew, who I took to do camera work and who heads up InfoWars Nightly News, he's not here. And we've kind of got a skeleton crew today, but we're going to try to dig through all that incredible footage and bring that to you on the Nightly News tonight. And, of course, more by tomorrow here on the radio. I have a correction to make also, and I'll play the video again. The headline is, police admit that the Federal Reserve is private. But after I watched the video, you're there, you do the interview. I told Dew, hey, get it ready when we got back yesterday afternoon and to do the Sunday show. I said, go get the footage of those cops ready, admitting the Federal Reserve is private. And then by the time I watched it for the first time when we aired it, watched it for the first time through a camera, not through my own eyes, the cop's like, I don't know if it's federal or not. And he goes, is it, Captain? And the captain says, yeah, it is private. We are private. That was the head of Federal Reserve Security. I've since checked his name, and so that wasn't a cop. The Federal Reserve Security admits they're private. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today, seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at prisonplanet.tv. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones. I'm looking for people that have the wisdom to spot savings, opportunity, and recognize risk. Saving means to make money. The Cal Ben Pure Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated and twice as good as what you're using now. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils that contain no useless dyes, perfumes, deodorants, or antibacterials. Your risk is the hundreds of hazardous toxic detergents that give you rashes, itching sores, and deteriorating clothing called lint. If you want something better, if you want something you've never had before, you have to do something you've never done before. Getting a free catalog is easy by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com. Take charge of your health now by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com. This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Columbus Day 2011 on this 1010 transmission. We're going to be live here for the next 3 hours. Obviously, I am your host, Alex Jones. I want to run down some of the top stories and big developments taking place in our nation and across the globe. We're going to have Kurt Haskell popping in for about one segment today. He's the lawyer who survived the Christmas Day underwear bombing, now almost 2 years ago, along with his wife, and saw the underwear bomber being gotten on the plane by the sharp-dressed man and ordering them to let him on without credentials. Of course, then it came out a month and a half later that indeed the U.S. State Department had been ordered to give him a visa and get him on the aircraft without a passport. That was confirmed. The underwear bomber was gotten on the plane by the U.S. government. And he has now been at the trial and has talked to the standby lawyers and others who do believe it is a staged event and that Mutallab is either completely mentally ill, under mind control, or has had his family threatened. He's saying, I don't want the lawyers. I did it. That's the way it is. I don't want to discuss the people that got me on the plane. I don't want to talk about it. Just like McVeigh told other people on death row with him, yeah, they're going to kill my family if I don't say I did this. And, of course, we have Jane Graham from the federal building, the head of HUD, who saw McVeigh with known federal agents putting what she thought was telephone wire in the day before the attack, along with a bunch of other witnesses. Of course, those witnesses had to be killed, police officers and others like Terrence Yakey. Oh, but the government, Holder wouldn't do something like that. He was the deputy head of the Justice Department at the time. His emails and lawsuits have been released where he talks about this is a D-Day situation, maximum alert. We've got to get down to Oklahoma City and cover this up. I've shown those emails here on air. They've come out in major newspapers a few years ago, thanks to lawsuits by Jesse Trinidad, the lawyer, trying to find out why they tortured his brother to death. Well, they thought he was John Doe number 2. He looked just like him. Picked up at a internal border checkpoint and drug off to be tortured to death. And the same Holder caught now shipping, in one case, 2,000 guns directly to the Sinaloa cartel. Of course, you remember, let me just turn off this fan. They put a nice air filter in here, even though I didn't request it, and then it's always on when I start the show. I don't know. It must automatically turn on its own, because every day I got to go turn that off. I hear like Darth Vader breathing in the background. It's that air filter over there. Going back to what I was saying here. This is the same Eric Holder who has been caught. You see, when they started getting caught 6 months ago or so, when their own agent said, I'm angry, something's fishy here, we were ordered to go tell gun shops to set up cameras and then surveil people coming in and buying guns. When CBS News broke that, it was because they knew that there was a whole rebellion going on inside the ATF to these crimes, and that it was starting to come out in federal court separately, that it was really an Iran-Contra type deal with cocaine allowed to be shipped in and guns shipped in to Sinaloa and others for a drug war by the Federal Reserve against cartels not laundering their money through the big globalist banks. I mean, if you go back over 6 months ago, if you go back in February, I guess 8 months ago, you will read prisonplanet.com articles by Paul Watson about the federal court hearings where the feds were declaring national security concerning cocaine and different drug cartels authorized to bring the cocaine in. And then separately, the media reports, oh, by the way, the same cartels that are being sent the guns. And this is really starting to come out. I was listening to Beyond the Beltway, big syndicated Sunday night news show with, what is his name, Bruce Dumont or whatever. I met him once. Pretty nice guy. And he was saying, oh, this Fast and Furious, it goes a lot deeper than just guns, as we've seen in some of the Chicago papers. This is going to be coming out. The White House isn't going to get away with this one. But he didn't go forward and tell you what's in the El Paso Times or the Houston Chronicle or the Honolulu Advertiser. These are a few of the papers that have had the courage to report on this stuff 6-8 months after we did. And I'm not tooting our horn. The Narcosphere, Narco News, there's all these other sites that were reporting on it at the same time as us as well, and our listeners ferreting through the federal court cases and sending us emails pointing out the different filings in the federal docket and the Homeland Security, Justice Department declaring national security. So we have a president with an attorney general who, quote, said, get down to Oklahoma and cover this up. Cover it up, because cops showed up in the Oklahoma Police Department and said, why are you ATF 30 seconds after the blast? Why are you all in your bomb gear? And why are you ordering ambulances that are showing up to put bandages on you and say you were on the 9th floor? What's going on here? By the way, you guys were doing a drill here yesterday. What's going on? And the cops all saw the bombs being removed that didn't go off because McVeigh and others didn't wire them right inside the building. McVeigh, of course, was angry. He knew he was deep cover and was supposed to be setting up militias and right-wing groups. He'd been sheep-dipped special forces. And he wasn't as smart as Ahmad Salam, who a few years before Oklahoma City was hired by the CIA